I'm Aisha Adaji from the Osun State University in Nigeria. The title of my paper, it's Developing AI Governance in Africa, an Intellectual Property Perspective. So as the title suggests, my paper examines AI governance from an IP perspective. And for these, my paper focuses on two broad areas. First, it looks at the applicability of IP rules to AI technologies and AI-generated outputs. And it also looked at the impact of AI on IP owners and traditional knowledge holders. Before delving into that, I attempt to establish the link between AI governance and IPR. Basically, intellectual property rights regulate access to and use of technological and creative resources. And these resources often form the inputs for AI training and also the outputs that may be generated from AI research and innovation. Beyond the fact that AI, the underlying framework of AI could be a subject matter of intellectual property rights, and also the fact that it has the ability to generate output that could also form the subject matter of intellectual property rights. AI has also been influencing or shaping the creative and inventive process. But notwithstanding this, beyond that, and as part of what I try to do in this aspect or this section in my paper, I also, beyond discussing the direct link between intellectual property rights and AI, I also look at how the interaction between intellectual property rights and AI implicates other aspects of the AI governance, like issues considering like ethics, explainability, transparency, drawing on the existing rules on disclosure requirement under the patent system and other issues, which I try to highlight, looking at the role of IP in the context of AI. And then I briefly highlighted some of the emerging strategies on AI in Africa. Just like one of the earlier presenters, I also identified some of I noticed that some of the existing framework made brief reference to intellectual property rights, while others do not. Basically, there's a gap within the emerging AI governance framework, because most of this framework failed to integrate intellectual property rights consideration into their policies on AI. Now, concerning the two broad issues which I attempt to look at, that's the applicability of intellectual property rules to AI technology or in the AI context, or the impact of AI on the existing intellectual property rights and traditional knowledge. I've been able to identify not just the risk AI presents to intellectual property right, but also the opportunities it presents or creates, particularly with regards to the protection and enforcement of intellectual property rights. In terms of the challenges, which cuts across both legal and technological challenges, most of the issues in that respect revolves around, of course, there've been emphases, the debates on whether or not AI can be conferred with a right of authorship or inventorship, and issues concerning infringement and liability. Those are basically some of the challenges associated with arising from the intersection between AI and intellectual property rights. But beyond that, beyond these legal challenges, are also some technological challenges that arises from the embedded technological control. Now, with regards to the embedded technological control, these mechanisms are not only pose challenges to intellectual property, right? They also present opportunities, and I also try to address, talk about the opportunities that AI itself could presents with regards to IP management and enforcement, as well as cultural presentation and technological and traditional knowledge documentation. In terms, I'll take you back to the challenges. In terms of the challenges it may pose due to the embedded technological control, even before AI, they've always been the discourse regarding the use of, some technological protection measures, which does prevent, users from taking advantage of some of the flexibilities under the intellectual property rights, such as fair use. So I try to look at these various issues, identify the various issues, and on that basis, try to make some recommendation, which I am still developing. The basic aim of which, of course, is to ensure that in developing AI governance framework in Africa, that we're able to strike a balance between the research and innovation incentive provided under the intellectual property system and with access in the AI context. So, of course, as I develop my work, I intend to emphasize on the need to provide legal clarity with regards to, the ongoing debates as to AI inventorship, AI authorship, establishing liability rules, especially with regards to AI-generated works that are, generated automatically without any form of human contribution or supervision, and also how the protection of traditional knowledge could actually be integrated within the existing patent system. Yes, I understand that there are ongoing, international engagements to establish a framework for the protection of traditional knowledge. But while that is ongoing, there are still certain opportunities within, I believe that strongly that there are certain opportunity within the existing intellectual property framework, which within which the use of traditional knowledge and cultural expressions could be protected. And then beyond the typical intellectual property framework, I also intend to explore how open science initiative could also be used, particularly as to alongside intellectual property protection, especially as it relates to, the use of embedded technological control within the AI context, because as Africa keeps depending on imported technology, the challenges may arise with regards to the adaptability of those technology because of the embedded control. And in that context, open science may have certain roles to play, where you have situations where African countries can collaborate and towards developing AI technology for the benefit of the African people. Well, yes, so the paper, I'm still developing the paper, and yeah, so that's the few thoughts I have on it currently. Thank you.